Hi, Esthers. I'm here with my mom, and in today's video we are going to be discussing Christian dating. We're actually going to make this into a series, so this will be the first video.
So we're going to make a series based on a book. Well, let me give a little background, I guess, if that's okay. So Carice is coming of age to start dating. And so in preparation for that, I wanted to get a few books on Christian dating. I was raised in a very good family. It's a religious family, but it wasn't really strict. So we kind of followed the ways of the world in some of the dating norms of my family. So, or the principles of dating. So I kind of want different principles for Carice and her experience. And so I felt like we needed to do some study and some discussion and make sure we're on the same page before she actually starts dating. So we purchased a few books. We are into our first book, and so we wanted to share that because it's already got some really good points in it. So It's called Teen Dating, If I'd Only Known the Truth About It, I guess. Teen Dating, If I'd Only Known the Truth About, and then ...
Okay.
A Guide to Dating from a Christian Perspective for Preteens and Teens, and it's by James Weggert. I don't know him. He's got a master's in education. He's a school counselor, so he's got some credentials behind him. But I definitely like some of the things that he says in the book. And, you know, with any book, you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt and glean the good stuff and sift through things you may disagree with, but it challenges you to think critically about things. So anyway, this one is just kind of an introduction to this first book that we're doing. I have to scroll a lot because we're just gonna hit the highlights, and I'm half blind, so this is so the print's enlarged. Okay, so I'm trying to scroll just so we can talk about things that are in his prologue and his introduction. But so one of his points is, if you go on the journey of preparing yourself for dating, or the point is to go on this journey by learning the when, who, and how to date, then you are more likely to have a lifelong, loving Christian marriage. And I think that's the goal. Some people might be called to staying single their whole life, but most people, I think, feel they want to get married and feel like they're called to get married, but who you choose is one of the biggest decisions you will ever make in your life. And if you want a marriage that is based on Christian principles and loving for your entire life, then you definitely have to choose very, very carefully, especially in this day and age. So it's not just something you do, it's something you prepare yourself for. And that's one of his principles that I think is really important. Dating should be a slow process in which you discover what the person you're dating is really like, and whether or not God wants you to be married to this person for the rest of your life. So a lot of times people will just kind of, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but oh, he's so cute, or oh, he's got money, or he's super nice. And in the very beginning, you're seeing all of these positives, but usually you're in this time period of just getting to know each other, and you're discovering what each other is like. And so dating takes time. Sometimes they say it can take really up to 2 years to fully know someone really, really well. And that's the whole point of dating, is getting to know them and seeing whether or not they're a keeper. And we're going to talk about a keeper throughout this book, because that's one of the principles that this person talks about that's so helpful. So this book has two main goals, and the first one is to help you prepare yourself for dating. Most young people, even when they're kind of dating age, they aren't just ready to jump into dating. There's things that you need to do, and you need to do to prepare for dating. And that's what we're going to talk about, because the second point of the book is to try to reduce the number of broken hearts. Every time you're in a relationship, you don't want to leave a little bit of your heart behind with this person and that person and that person. And of course, you don't want to have your heart broken a number of times. So it's so important that you don't date casually, and that it's it's an important decision that you make, and you do it very carefully and circumspectly. So in order to achieve the goals of the book, the author is going to give us information and suggestions about dating and things related to dating from a Christian perspective. And that's, of course, most important. We want to be using biblical principles for our choices in dating.
Definitely.
So the journey of preparing yourself for dating is going to take a good deal of effort and learning, as well as spiritual, personal, and emotional growth. Although it won't be easy, there are rewards. And I think we've talked about this, and we're going to, there's so many things that just triggers all these things we've been learning in the book, but I don't want to get to them too prematurely. But that this journey is not just gaining understanding, but it actually takes some work too.
Yeah.
So one of the principles we're going to talk about is that you're looking for a keeper, but in order to find a keeper, you need to become someone who's a keeper for someone else. And that takes work. So instead of spending your time looking for the right guy, just work on yourself being a keeper, and then God will bring the right person into your life. But it takes time, and it requires spiritual, personal, and emotional growth. And so that's one of the things we've been talking about is, then how can you make yourself a keeper? And this book will cover those things. But then what are the rewards of really doing this diligent work and then having a very careful dating life and eventually finding through dating in a Christian way the right person? What are the benefits of doing that? Well, you will eventually find a husband if you're a girl, or a wife if you happen to be a boy watching this. You're going to find a spouse with whom you have a close, loving relationship, who is your best friend, and really your husband or wife should be your best friend, who treats you with kindness, tenderness, love, and respect in their thoughts, their words, and actions on a daily basis. I think in society today, we see a lot of disrespect in marriages, people calling each other names, just treating each other disrespectfully. That is not how you have a long marriage or a happy marriage.
Right.
But you want to find someone who loves you unconditionally the way you are, who tries their best to meet your emotional, physical, social, and financial needs. But one thing we know is that they're not expected to meet all of your needs. You have to take some responsibility for your needs, and God fills in the gap. You don't want to go into a relationship expecting the boy to fulfill all of your needs.
Right.
But they do have some responsibility in there.
Yeah.
But also someone who consistently makes the effort to keep the feeling of being in love at a high level. And we're going to go into the in love. It's this great feeling, and it is something that's sustainable in a relationship. It usually happens at the beginning of a relationship, but you can sustain it, but it takes some work to sustain it. Well, how do we do that? And you want to date someone and marry someone who's going to be willing to put the work into keeping that feeling, and who is faithful to you no matter what. That's part of wedding vows. In sickness and in health, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. So no matter what situation you're going through, tragedies or times of blessing, that they are faithful to you because you're in a covenant relationship. And someone with whom you can resolve differences in a calm, constructive, caring manner. So we're going to talk about some red flags. And someone who has an anger problem, that's a red flag. We have to be careful that we don't just say, oh, but it's okay, or he's only angry with this person or that person. We have to make sure that we don't gloss over those warning signs. So someone that, if you guys disagree, you can talk through things constructively, calmly, and caring about each other, and who wants only the best for you, with whom you have the feeling of being in love, at least most of the time, who has true love for you. And true love, this author defines as a lifelong commitment, and who you have true love for, with whom you can share the blessing of children, and with whom you can have a 40, 50, or 60-year fulfilling marriage with which God is well pleased. And I think that ultimately would be the goal, right? We would hope that you find someone and you're able to stay married for 40, 50, 60 years. Carice has a dream of one day getting a 2-story kind of a country looking house with dormers and a porch all the way around the house. And I can imagine a swing on there. And of course, you want to grow up and have your husband of 40 or 50 years swinging on the swing with you while the children are, or not children, the grandchildren have come to visit, the great-grandchildren have come to visit.
Yeah.
And that's a great goal. I think that's an awesome goal. So this is just the first one. We wanted to introduce the book to you, kind of give you a taste of the things that it's going to be covering and what you can get out of studying this and also working on the principles that the book is teaching. So we're not even done with the book, but we were too excited to wait. We wanted to already start talking about it. And so we hope you enjoyed taking the journey with us.
Yes, well, we hope you enjoyed. Come back for the next episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.